Sandy, go ahead, Sandy.
You know your employees are gonna retire 6 months, even 3 months before. Don't you start looking for replacements before? I have a carrier who retired at the end of last year. I have yet to see the same person deliver my mail.
Well, retirement is not something that they plan or let us know in advance. Sometimes we get notification of a person retiring. Sometimes it's close to a week or two before they retire. It's up to the individual. It's up to the individual. When they decide they want to go, it's when they go. They put their papers in and that's it.
All right, thank you. Heard it? We're gonna get there, all right? You've been toasted enough.
Okay, good.
No, I
Not
just
nearly
want to,
enough.
my post office, they run out of West Farm. And also in Linwood, I know there's a post office. Attitude towards the public, those people behind me there, they're not treating the public. Some are very good and some are very bad in behavior towards the public. I like to know how often you're doing service in them, and kind of how to do your customer care. Because when you get a restaurant, you want to have customers come there, so you need to treat them. And I don't believe that with post office. Because the way they treat me one day, it's not nice. I like customer care. And how often do you do the service?
Well, we put an initiative in place where every morning a supervisor is supposed to have a huddle with the clerks before they get on the window, reminding of the gisting, that's the, the courtesy to the customer, good morning, how you doing, smiling, is there anything living and all the other stuff that they ask the customer regarding their item. But the supervisor in the morning before they log onto the window, they're supposed to have that huddle with them to reinforce the courtesy every morning.
We also have another initiative called a mystery shopper. We have a program where we have mystery shoppers, which we don't know who they are, and they come randomly and visit the post office. They rate how long they wait online. The wait time in line is supposed to be the goal, 5 minutes or less. And I know sometimes that's not the case. I know sometimes that's not the case in certain post offices, but that is the goal. So we also have these mystery shoppers, they rate us on courtesy, knowledge of products, cleanliness of the lobby, a lot of different things. So not only are we internally reminding the clerks of that they must be courteous and give the great customer service to the public as we expect them to, we also have external people coming in doing random checks, mystery shops on us as well, and they're done sometimes once or twice a month.
Okay,
Come on.
At the end of every transaction, the clerk is supposed to circle the receipt and tell you that there's a survey to rate their service. So if you look, you can do it, you can scan it with your phone, or you can call the number that's on there, and you can rate the clerk service. The clerk is supposed to let you know and say at the end of each transaction, can you please take the survey and rate my service and how did I serve you for the day?
We really depend on those surveys, the customer insight, because we want to get the insight from you. We want the feedback from the customers so that we can address it down to that location. And we can actually get it down to the actual clerk. So without you answering those surveys, that's how we can get our feedback and we can address it to make it a better place for you. So I would encourage you, anytime you go to the post office, at the bottom of your receipt, there's a survey. Please do the survey. You can do it online or on the phone, and it will help us to help you and give you better service.
all right. Listen, excuse me, that survey, is it available to the community board? In other words, your survey that you get, 10469 gets rated, right? That survey for that post office, is it available to the public?
It's gonna be at the bottom of every receipt.
No, the results.
Oh, the results of the survey, yes. We have a postal forum, and you can come, we usually, and they're invited, major mailers come to the postal forum, or people from the general public come to the postal community forums, the PCC meetings, and then that's where we share our results of surveys and our service and timeliness of service and so on.
All right. Could the community board be notified when these forums, take place?
I will reach out to
Jeremy over
I will
here.
reach out to customer relations And I'll tell them to send you invites whenever we have them.
All right,
Third. Yeah.
okay. Not the third Thursday, because that's our meeting.
No, you were the
But
fourth
I'll reach out to
Thursday,
All right, and just to recap.
Tony.
Years ago, many years ago, you had the regular, and you had a steady fill-in for a couple of rounds. The floater, are you reinstituting that procedure? Because that would probably cut back on a lot of the complaints.
We have that in place.
You do?
That never stopped. The issue is the employee availability. When you have the regular who's out, and then the floater calls out sick, and the floater's out, so now you have to fill it in with an unfamiliar character.
That's one.
Or they take the route and they break it up into pieces, and everyone takes a piece of it.
Well, I know where you give, the regular does the regular route, and he has to do another half a route because you don't have enough people. I understand that.
Yes.
Now, my next thing is, I'm gonna tell you, the lines, I mean, I laughed about the lines, and don't get mad, I'm in 10469, and every time I go in there, I know I have seen you have another girl. However, I have seen at 9 o'clock, and sometimes I get there a couple of minutes before 9 o'clock, there's a big line and there's only one person.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very consistent in 10469.
I have an employee availability issue right now with my clerk. I have several that are out sick. I have open, bids. So I have, very limited staffing right now.
Okay.
That's why I'm in my lobby a lot, because, yeah, but we're working on it.
You're working
So-
on it, that's all.
so
I'll take you at your word.
When I have my one clerk in the lobby and the one in
Okay.
the window and the one in the lobby, a lot of times, as you're stating, I'm out there because I'm also doing transactions to help them.
All right, listen, you heard the gripes.
Yes.
You know, you go back, you talk about it. Hopefully, there's some improvement. Maybe in 6 months, we'll have you back. And probably a lot more friendly, you know.
I still feel it was a friendly environment.
All right, no, really, try to address it. This is the third time we had the postal people here. And I'm going back years now. I'm not just saying now, 6 months, years. It's an ongoing problem, and we would like to see it solved, please.
Well, you've had some fresh new faces here, so.
I see that, I see in the morning, she's like the Gestapo out there. But anyway, let's see improvement, okay? All right, thank you very much for your time. Have a good day, bye-bye. And I saw him last night, I says, is somebody coming to our meeting? He says, yeah, me. And he's a man of his word. I mean, this is about 34th time we see him there. So I give you the captain, he'll give you a recap of what's happening here.
Thank you. I'll be quick. So, we're having a little difficult start to the year 2018. We're up in crime 13.3%. We're up 21 additional crimes year to date. We're up 2 homicides year to date versus 0 last year. We're up 2 rapes, 3 versus 1. We're up 13 robberies, 43 versus 30. We're flat in felony assaults, 30 versus 35. We're down significantly in burglaries, 16 versus 28. We're up in grand larcenies, 65 versus 59. That's an additional 6. And we're up in grand larceny autos, 15 versus 5. That's an additional 10. We had a great beginning of 2017. Command averages about 24 index crimes a week. At this time last year, we were coming in with 16s and 17s. I mean, we were doing tremendous. This year is a different story. We had 2 homicides year to date. The one at 1932 Hone Avenue on February 5th. That was the morning after the Super Bowl. We get a call at 1932 Hone. Discovered a male shot in his vehicle multiple times. Our investigation leads us to a family member. Subsequently, made an arrest. It was a dispute that spilled over from the night before, Super Bowl night, into that morning. A family member of the deceased shot him multiple times, killing him. We have made an arrest, 2 arrests on that situation. So, tragic, concerning, yes. threat to the community at the time the incident happened, yes, no longer arrests have been made. It's not like it was a gang or narcotics related incident. So solved successfully. The other shooting we had per year was up in Eastchester Houses, 1245 a D. That was non-fatally shot in his leg on January 23rd at 09:49 hours. Within 7 hours, between our detectives and our intelligence officers, we gained information on who the individual was. And then 7 hours later, we had him arrested in the adjacent building in Eastchester Houses. And then our other homicide for the year was a stabbing homicide at 2300 Bronx Park East. This was an individual that worked at a restaurant on Morris Park Avenue. He was returning home to his residence at 2300 Bronx Park East, and he was assaulted, stabbed one time, fatally in the heart, and he died in the vestibule of 2300 Bronx Park East. We recovered video in the area. We have some individuals on surveillance that we need to identify and speak with. We have some investigative leads that I don't want to go into. Very concerning one. That happened on the 15th at 21:50 hours. So you're going to see a lot more police presence. The borough has been kind. They've had additional resources allocated to the 49 precinct. Specifically, I have them Bronx Park East, Boston Road, Waring to Pelham Parkway North in regards to this. I also have them deployed in other areas that are historically, we've seen violence around Pelham House, Chester, I have them up in Eastchester as well. So it's all hands on deck right now because we are experiencing an uptick in crime right now. I know one of the other instances that caught me the attention, very concerning, we had a home invasion in 2219 Tenbrook, February 5th. Elderly female comes home, finds the perpetrator inside her residence up on the second floor. He assaults her with a crowbar that he used to gain entry. We also got video on that. The NCO officers are really canvassing hard and came up with some video on the subject. We need to identify that individual. I know there was concern because we've experienced 4 of these type of home invasions / interrupted burglars in the command year to date. We had one at 1310 a D. We had another one at 1732 Colden, right across from the community board office. We had this one at 2219 Pembroke, and then we had one up at the Paradise Hotel. So what happens is the Bronx looks at the 4-9 and they say the 4-9 has 4, the 4-4 had 3. And they brought us in for a meeting at the borough, and we discussed all our home invasions to see if there was a link. And we're not seeing any links to any of these home invasions. 2219 Pembroke was 1 perpetrator. 1732 was 2 perpetrators. 1310 D was 2 perpetrators. Totally different description. We feel as if they hit the wrong house on that one and meant to hit the adjacent house. That adjacent house, we spoke to that resident. That resident's given us a lead on 2 individuals. He's had a dispute with. We're looking at them as possible. And then the 2990 Boston Road was Paradise Hotel. We identified 3 perpetrators, 2 are wanted, and 1 we have arrested already on that. There was another deception burg that was very concerning that I wanted the community to be aware of. And it was the type of burg that I guess the 4-9 had experienced back in the days prior to my arrival. It was a pattern. It was we call it deception burg because the perpetrators posed as water employees, where they con their way in. They target the elderly, they con their way into the residence, say they for a water company, they need to test the water, and the elderly let them in, and they basically distracts them, tells them to turn on the water, turn off the water while they're ransacking the house and taking currency in this case. Our organized crime, our organized theft ring specializes in these type of deception works. They have the lead on it. They did a video canvas. They identified a vehicle. They have suspects or persons of interest at this time. So I like the way that one's going. Other concerns that are going on in the command, again, like last year, the tires and rims, still the same. Targeting the 2017 brand new Honda Accords for the tires and rims. 1680 Palm Parkway South, 1507 Lawrencedale. I want to say we have about 4 year to date. Catalytic converters are seem to be stepping up, where an individual basically what they do is they pull alongside the looking at these like Econoline vans, they'll or trucks like U-Haul trucks. They like them too. They'll pull alongside of them. They'll go underneath them. They'll have like a sawzall that's battery powered. They'll cut the catalytic converters out really quick, and then they jump back in their vehicle when they leave. And then they sell it for scrap metal. It's worth. It has a lot of value to it, so it's a quick steal. These type of crimes, tires and rims, mailbox phishing, we have 4 year to date versus 7 last year, so we have less mailbox phishing than last year, which I like that trend, and I want to see it going down. Mailbox phishing, tires and rims, really, you guys are going to be the difference makers. If you guys see them, you can alert us. It's, 9 times out of 10, we're circling around, and if we get lucky, we get it, but the majority of our arrests last year was off the community coming forward and providing us information. The other significant incidents year to date was the bank robbery, 2918 White Plains Road, Bank of America. It was a great collaborative effort with 49 PDU, our detective squad, our joint bank robbery task force, our NCO officers. Within seconds, getting on the film, the 49 detective squad knew exactly who the guy was. NCOs go out to a camera campus. They find a witness who actually provides video of the individual after he robs the bank and stole about $7,000 or $8,000, armed with a crossbow. And we retrieved the video, and then our intel officers and our SRG that came into the command apprehended him with all brand new clothing to shop the month. But he was charged federally and brought down. He was problematic. He was a shooter in 2013 in the townhouses. Now he's federally incarcerated. I think that was a big win for the community. Housing is doing good year to date. 9 versus 12, we're down 3 crimes in housing. Transit's doing good. 4 versus 6, we're down 2 crimes in transit. And then the last significant incident, which I'm sure you saw in the news, was the terrorism investigation at 2121 Matthews. I was alerted through the Intelligence Bureau, the FBI, that there was going to be a search warrant at the location. They, as you know, a lot of it's in the press release. They execute the search warrant. They find quite a bit of material. It combined with build a bomb, explosive device.
It's a
This
boom.
investigation, from what I
A boom.
understand, not a 49 precinct investigation. This is a joint Intelligence Bureau FBI federal investigation. Started in 2017, December 2017. Started off with threats at a school, which led to the identified person of the person who made the threats. They arrest that person. They speak to that person further. It leads into a sex crime, which that person was arrested. And then what happens after that, when they look into it a little bit further and they talk to the victim of the sex crime, they learn about this explosive material in the residence. They enter the residence. At no time was anyone at risk. The material was not combined, so it wasn't a threat. It was, I want to say it was 30 pounds total. They had some ammunition as well. 2 individuals were arrested. They were brothers, 20 and 27 years of age. I don't have any details as far as, whether they're labeled as domestic or foreign, terrorism. I couldn't go into that, that would be, my investigation. But I think it was, you know, a well done job by the Intelligence Bureau, as a home run. So those two individuals were brought down to 26 Federal Plaza. There was also another individual that lived or resided at the location. The mother was not arrested. She still resides or stays in that location.
I gotta go back and.
Outside of that, that's year to date.
I gotta say this, last night I went to visit the 49 precinct at 6 o'clock. I looked in the cells, they were filled up. They were filled up, and the squad, their cells filled up. And I was awed, these guys are going out and making an arrest out there. And I'm very proud of them. And with I gotta commend the 49 precinct, I'm not concerned with this because I know the people we have are very good and they have the proper leadership that this man will correct the situation. Well, by the time he comes back, he's gonna be back like the old days, low on crime. I have total confidence in him and the members of the 49 precinct.
Any question? Hi, please.
On the weekends, do you know that they're doing track work on 2 and 5 and 108th Street? So there's no trains going uptown past there. We're getting people into the neighborhoods, they're walking around, they're lost, even though the buses are outside, they're taking further. And we've been having a bit of a problem. Maybe you could let your community police know, because the weekends is when they show up. And when you venture to ask somebody, oh, well, I'm trying to get to Gun Hill Road, or whatever, you go back and get on the bus. You know, the bus will take you the rest of the day.
You're saying people are just transversing through Van Ness,
Right, the lower
walking
blocks,
through the
Adams,
block, yeah,
and
you're
the
concerned.
180th and Fairview, they're just traversing through, they're lost. Even though the buses are there, a lot of people will get on the buses, they know that the bus will take them the rest of the train route from 180th Street up to Dyer or whatever, but some don't.
So unfortunately, my two football just got caught up with something out there. But I'll give them that information. I'm sure you have, they made contact with you. You can communicate directly with them, any concerns. So, you know, we went to the NCO program January 22nd. Man, it's divided up in 3 sectors or areas of concern. Van Ness, Morris Park is basically Sector Adam, Pelham Parkway South, Bronx Park East, let's say Williamsbridge, Pelham House area, that's gonna be Sector Boyd, and then Allison, Eastchester, and Pelham Gardens is gonna be Sector Charlie,
And the
then we have
coops.
our housing NCOs.
Ouch.
Communicate directly with them, any information, concerns you have, via email, text. It's a great way to provide intelligence, any information you wanna give confidentially, any, minor issues that you would like to see addressed personally. Any emergencies got to be done through 911. These officers are going to be holding their own community meetings or villa block meetings on a quarterly basis. You get to know them personally. It's a great way of forming a relationship with the 49 precinct if you don't have a strong one already. And you know, you'll get to know your officer from that command. And now these officers don't bounce around the command. They strictly stick to one area, that's their designated area. I have to monitor that to make sure they're not going out in other areas. And the purpose behind that is to get to know the community, get to know what's not right, what's out of the ordinary, and form a better relationship between the police and the community. So it's a good thing. And I think it's going well.
Captain, thank you very much.
All right, so we'll move on to gallery. So our acting sergeant arms tonight is Dustin, and she's gonna do the timekeep as well as the gavel. And so remember, gallery session speakers, you'll get a 30-second mark for the elected reps, and she'll hold their 30 seconds. postcards, so just watch her for your time, and we are limiting you to a minute and a half tonight, all right? So, starting with the gallery, we will call Gene DeFrancis regarding the Holland Avenue construction.
Good evening, Tony. We have a situation with the construction that came to our attention, that needs the attention of land use, DOT, and safety. So Holland Avenue has been constantly in construction. I think over the past decade, it's been dug up about 4 or 5 times now. So the foreman and I were speaking over lunch yesterday, and he was talking about a gas line that runs all the way to Westchester, even beyond, but that's where the cutoff valve is. And it runs right underneath Holland Avenue, and he was telling us that in 3 years, that's gonna need to be repaired. And if not, the explosion that this could cause, if it wasn't, is severe. So if we can look into that, because it's twofold. One, is a hazard to the residents if it's not repaired. I have no doubt that if it comes to that extent, it'll get repaired. But that means in 3 years, Holland Avenue is gonna get dug up all over again, and he's saying they don't have the funding to do the repair now. Also, we need to get Con Edison on board with DDC, because they're holding up their work, and it's holding up traffic, so they need to get onto the same page. Thanks.
Gene, you were talking to a Con Ed employee or?
DDC,
DDC.
the contractor. He was saying that there's a gas pipe right next, because you know they're replacing the sewer.
Yeah.
So right along that, it seems like it's the main route for several of these pipes. So to the left is on the east side is that's a question. Where is it? On the east side is the gas line, and he's saying that in 3 years that's going to need to be repaired.
All right, we'll follow up. Thank you, Gene.
So, Lisa, Mike, please, on the phone.
His name is Dario, by the way.
What block of Holland Avenue?
All of it, but he's specifically talking about Allerton and Mace, Boston Road, where it intersects.
Okay, great, thank you, Gene. Natalia Fernandez, regarding election.
No.
Good evening, I'm Natalia Fernandez. I just wanted to inform that there's a special election on April 24th of this year due to the vacancy. And also to let you know that I'm no longer the governor's representative, so when that new representative is announced, I'll make sure that this will be filled.
Thank you very much. That is for the New York State, Mark Jonisi, New York State Assembly. Carol Bailey, dog mess on sidewalks.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Carol Bailey. I'm one of the nurses at Montefiore Medical Center at 2959 Barnes Avenue. And it's a big problem in that area with the dog poop. Many times, the school is located approximately 1 block from where I live. The other day, I was home, a child was sitting on my stoop. Did not want to go to school because he has problem getting poop off his shoe. And he didn't want to smell in school. It's a bad problem. And it seems like there is nobody to help resolve this problem. It's a quality of life, in that neighborhood. And I need to know what the sanitation department can do to assist.
Nothing.
So
They can't do anything.
2959 Barnes between Williams Bridge and 80.
And 80. Mm-hmm.
It's very bad.
One of our internal officers reach out to the
Yes, please.
But more importantly, or just as importantly, keep track of patterns. Like if you know particularly it's this big guy with this little white dog, we need to know, like, is it 9 a.m. or is it 9 p.m.? So as much as possible, try to write it down, keep a little notebook or something.
Okay, I can do that.
Thank you.
You got a 311 type of call?
Yeah, yes, you can.
So I would make a lot of 311. Whoever's on that block, yourself, or the child, call the 811 and get that docket number and start collecting. They have to respond to the 311 call to the direct line.
Edith,
No one has responded, I have called 311.
They won't.
I've gotten to the point where, I did a couple of interviews on television about this because it's that bad. It is bad, I've have put up cameras.
If you don't keep them, they
Yeah, I will start keeping them now, I just did not have faith that anything was going to.
Yeah, no, we can just save the reference numbers, give it to us, call us, email us, whatever, and we'll reach out to sanitation. And I guess PD will as well. Final question, Edith Blitzer?
Final question, just a statement. If you call any parent over and give him the address, I mean, he's done this for us too. He sends his inspectors over in the morning and tries to catch the people that are walking their dogs without cleaning up.
I did get a sanitation worker was sitting in his car, and I did mention to him what the problem. He says, well, we can't do much about it because if you don't get the name and the address, there isn't much that you can do, and the only person who can get that information from the dog walker is NYPD. That they don't have the ability to track
That's not true.
person with your dog unless the person volunteer their information.
That's not true. That's a lie.
Yeah, the issue of sanitation is they ask for ID and they don't have to provide it. That's true.
They don't have
It
to
is a
provide it problem. to the police either.
So thank you. Larry, from the Elgin Merchants Association?
Okay, thanks for the time. I just want to make a quick, couple of quick announcements. As you may or may not know, Jean DeFrancis has stepped down as the director of the Merchants
So we have the new
Association.
director sitting
We
there.
had at our last meeting, election for new officers. Laurent Chambry is now the president. I'm the vice president. Christine Weil is the sergeant at arms, and Veronica is the secretary. And we just want to make you guys aware that we have our 5th annual cocktail party and anniversary cocktail party on Tuesday, May 1st at the Sands. This year's honoree will be tax man John Serini. And this will be held at the Sands. In the past, we've had Jeremy was one of our honorees, and Jackie Villanueva of others. Okay, thank you.
Mandy Martinez, New York Public Library?
Good evening. Alright, so I want to report that this fiscal year, one of our main focuses was to enhance our collection. You know, our books, DVDs, any materials that circulate, and I want to report as of right now, year to date, we're up 16% in circulation. So we're going to continue doing that. Of course, we have normal programming that's going on for all ages, but I really want to bring out Women's History Month Teen Trivia. We're going to be doing that on Friday, March 23rd at 3:30. We're going to be offering incentives and gifts to teens in the community. And we're going to be also doing a coffee and canvas for adults on Thursday, March 29th at 4:30. That one does require registration. We also have early literacy programs that take place every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday at 11 a.m. We've had positive feedback from the community, and we're looking to increase programming. That's it. I just want to say, Captain, I have been working with the NC officers that cover Sector C, Charlie, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing work from them. So I see them around too, so great. Any questions?
No, thank you very much, Manny. And last but not least, Ralph Schweitzer. You're at 2241 White Plains Road.
I'll keep it short. My name is Ralph Schweitzer. I'm head of the Bronx Park East Community Association. We advocate for the Allerton and Pelham Property North sections of the community board. Wanted to go on record about 2241 White Plains Road is a proposed 6-story building, 5 of which will be apartment buildings. I'm not a driver, as you know, but the parking situation in our neighborhood is already horrid. People searching for hours to find parking, sometimes they sleep in their car. This new building has no parking arrangements. Neighborhood's already overcrowded and underserviced, so, we can't stop a building, but we're gonna have a building, put parking. Additionally, it will be rent stabilized, however, this isn't really affordable housing. 2 bedrooms, 1643. 3 bedrooms, 2146. There are some 1 bedrooms going for 1788.
Wow.
Admittedly, some of the 1 bedrooms are 1359, but we don't
Wow.
want something just pushed upon us. As I said, I grew up on Thwaites Place. This is actually at the corner of Thwaites Place and Boston Road, right by Stephen Restaurant. So if the community board, I just want to go on record, Councilman Torres' office, Joe McManus, are looking into it, and thank you. That's all. Any questions?
Now, Shannon, Mike?
I spoke to the gentleman who proposed the building, and not only you're telling me the rents are ridiculous, but the size of the apartments.
Ridiculous.
Studios, I think he says, are 400 square feet.
Wow.
1 bedrooms, 625. 2 bedrooms, 850.
What?
I mean, they're putting them in matchboxes,
Mm-hmm.
spending a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's just looking to rip off the neighborhood, make whatever money he can.
Mm-hmm.
He's not interested in the people who live there or who he's gonna be putting in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope if this thing ever does come up to a vote, that everybody over here votes it down. And I'm gonna do my best to get all of the co-ops and condos to sign a petition, Senator Richie Torres against this. Thank you.
Also, at the last community board meeting at Cavalry, they presented this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we didn't like it then, so why like it now?
Do they need community board's approval to go forward?
Well, if they need money, I believe, if they apply for funds from the state or the city, I think they have to come
It's
to us.
HPD project, it says.
Yeah, no, they're looking for a recommendation. I believe Janice was gonna do an on-site visit.
We're supposed to go out
Tomorrow, it's in Harlem. Okay, so I'll come back and give you listen, whatever, I'll come back. That's all I can say, okay?
Thank you, Janice. All right, that concludes the gallery session. We'll move on to elected officials. From the Borough President's Office, Thomas McKinney.
Good evening, everyone. Since it's 8:45, I will leave the bulk of the report for Jeremy just to distribute, which I sent him yesterday, but just 2 quick items. One is, I did notice in one of your committee reports, you spoke about the tragic fire that occurred in Belmont. I think it was in Yahay's committee. And just to let you know, we've been working with Councilmember Torres and Councilmember Deutsch from Brooklyn on a series of pieces of legislation to help prevent these catastrophic fires. We had a press conference last week with the council member, and the legislation is 3 parts. One is that it would require owners of buildings with 3 or more units to provide stove safety devices on all stoves and units where there are children 10 years of age or younger. It would require the fire department to work with the Department of Education to implement a plan for educating children and parents about fire safety. While we know the fire department does do that on request, this would require the fire department to create a schedule for all of the schools in the city. And it also would, the third intro would require landlords to post a notice that those escaping a fire should close the doors behind them. There's also some talk about creating legislation that would require self-closing doors if it doesn't already, if buildings don't already have them. And then lastly, Borough President delivered his State of the Borough address today. Next month, I'll talk a bit more about it. The link is on our website. If you'd like to go to the website, see the entire address, it is available on our website. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Moving on, we will go to Councilmember Jonai's office, Maryland.
Hi, my name is Marilyn Salema. For those who don't know me, I'm the treasurer for Councilman Jonai. And I have two announcements. We are, if you guys don't know yet, we moved to a new office, so we're now located at 1478 Williamsbridge Road. And if you'd ever like to reach our office, our phone number is 718-931-1721. So we're holding two events. On March 7th, we're actually hosting a community safety meeting. I still have yet to send out flyers, but I do have some back on the table over there. One other event that we're having is we're celebrating Kosovo's independence on February 27th down at the council chambers in City Hall. It's a little late, but tomorrow's the deadline to RSVP. We still have a lot of seats open. So you can call 212-482-4122 to RSVP. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Great, work the time. Councilmember Torres' office, Joe McManus.
I always have to raise these things. Thank you very much. I hope everybody had a nice holiday. Just two things, just quick. This tax prep at Councilman Torres' office, you must make an appointment. And just as what Raphael was telling me about, we are working on that 2241 White Plains Road, trying to get everybody together to see if there can be some accommodations. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Councilmember King's office, Adam Ramirez.
Hello, folks. I wanted to promote two events that we're having. We have our State of the District Address, which is going to be on March 12th. We have flyers over there. The councilman is also having the second annual day in the city where we bring awareness to the 3/5 clause in the Constitution. So that's going to be on March 5th. We also have flyers over there. As far as legislation, there's a piece of legislation the councilman introduced like a while ago that we're trying to sort of bring back. For homeowners where there's a tree in front of your house where it does damage to the sidewalk, the city doesn't really have any kind of anything in place to sort of help you out, to sort of compensate you. It's the kind of thing that no one was sort of really cared about a couple of years ago. We're hoping, with new folks in power, that maybe we can kind of push it forward. I was going to leave it at that. I just want to make a quick comment on the postal service. I'm a city employee. I work for the government. We got some folks over here who are, working for the state. I know the way we need to treat the public, the way we need to speak to people, even if people are rude to us. You know what I mean? In other words, that's my job.
Right.
My boss should fire me if I don't treat the people a certain way. I know Councilman Jonai would do right. In other words, you knew that you focus on. And I'm just saying, I just feel like with the postal workers, they need to treat the public with a certain amount of respect.
Thank you, Adam. We agree. Thank you. Point well taken. From Senator Klein's office, Christina from Senator Klein's office.
Where's Patrick?
Hi everyone, I'm covering for Pat today, so I'm not usually rep, but it's nice to meet you all. I think I see two familiar faces. I'll keep it brief. Saturday we have our Black History Month celebration. If you haven't yet, call our office to RSVP. We always get a lot of people calling, so make sure you do it tomorrow. Our office number is 718-822-2049, and we have flyers over there. We are also very happy that the governor included our sex offender legislation in his 30-day budget amendment. That would keep level 2 and level 3 sex offenders away from living within 1,000 feet of a preschool or a kindergarten and from living within a family shelter. So we're very excited
What about daycare?
to pass the budget in April. And the new property tax exemption program for seniors has been expanded up to $58,000. So if you haven't signed up already, please sign up. All right, thank you.
Thank you. And then last but not least, we have the office director of the 8th Assembly District. Okay, great. Thank you for coming. So that ends the gallery. We'll move on to chairman's report. Tony?
January minutes, I'm making a motion to accept the January minutes. Do I have a second? Sandra? Yes, a second, all right.
Open for discussion.
Yeah, I sent you an email. I read the minutes. There's no notation of any kind that, there was anything said against the DOT's program.
No, I did send a reply to all, including Bernadette. We amended that. So it's on record that Van Ness Neighbor Alliance is against it, as well as Morris Park Community Association.
It's
And I
not,
ran that by David earlier.
it's not in here, that's why I missed it. Did you say something?
Any other questions, comments on the minutes? So, all in favor? Any against? Linda? Abstentions? So, passed, one against.
Yeah, Sylvia will feel well tonight, he's not here, but in the folder is a copy of the treasurer's report, you know, for the record. All right? I move on up, district manager.
All right, so a few things, I'll try to go through them real quickly. So we put out, a while ago, last year we put out alternate side suspension, street sign changes, and